KHOU 11 News at 5:30 starts now.
Southeast Texas on alert as Tropical Storm Nicholas forms in the Gulf. The storm will bring heavy rains to the Houston area, and flooding is a strong possibility. Good evening, everyone. I'm Xavier Walton. Welcome to our KHOU 11 webcast. The Houston area will see the first showers from Nicholas tonight, with the heavier downpour starting tomorrow. Let's get to a live look now at Galveston. This shot courtesy of our partners at Saltwater Recon. Nicholas stirring up rip currents in the Gulf as a red flag warning is in place for Galveston beaches. We have a crew in Galveston covering storm preps right now. You see David Gonzalez. More on that in just a minute. But first, we're going to begin our team coverage with Chief Meteorologist David Paul. David, go ahead and set the scene for everybody at home watching Nicholas very closely.
Tropical Storm Nicholas is a minimal tropical storm. Winds are at 40 miles an hour, just barely making it a tropical storm. The storm is here. It formed this morning. It is moving north at 14 miles an hour. The pressure is at 1,008 millibars. They've had a hurricane hunter in here late morning into the early afternoon. GOES infrared satellite shows, though, how far that rain shield is lifting to the north of the storm. It's 500 miles from Houston, but we're already getting scattered showers from that system and that rain shield on that deep tropical moisture that just covers the entire western Gulf of Mexico. Scattered showers have reached the beaches of Galveston Island and Brazoria County, and a few scattered showers have reached into our interior counties. In fact, Polk and San Jacinto County up near Lake Livingston getting a scattered shower. Every now and then there's a flash of lightning there, but not too much rain has made it in right now, but the deeper moisture is arriving. You can feel the humidity coming up. So here's where the storm is right now. You see tropical storm watches and warnings up for the Texas coast. The forecast track from the Hurricane Center brings a strong tropical storm, winds of 65 miles an hour, to the lower Texas coast by tomorrow afternoon. That keeps the upper Texas coast and Houston on the wet side of that system. It's still to our southwest. We're on the wet side of that as we head into Tuesday, early Tuesday morning. And it's right next to us as we head into Tuesday afternoon. So we've got at least 2 days coming where we're on the wet side of a relatively weak tropical system. The problem is these weak systems are notorious heavy rainmakers. And as Addison Green joins us, there's still a little bit of uncertainty in the track of this thing, and that is going to have major impacts on who sees exactly how much rain.
Exactly, David. As we're looking at the two long form models that we track, the GFS model, the American model, and the European model, they both certainly do have a disagreement eventually of where this system will go and move further inland. Euro wants to take it up towards the north and west towards San Antonio and Austin. The GFS track wants to bring it closer to us going in towards the Houston metro area. So we're going to look at the GFS rainfall forecast track, putting that track right over that potential rain outlook, in which case we do see the heaviest rains being on towards the right side of the track. That's that northeastern portion of the storm system, which does put anywhere between about 10 to maybe 14 inches across from Liberty County, going through portions of Harris County, down in towards the Galveston Cary areas. As we take a look at the Euro track, we have that track making its way towards San Antonio, towards Austin, but it's a slower track, which means it'll bring around more rain over a prolonged period of time. And that's why we do see this white highlighted area, which is 16 inches, and the blue, that's 25 plus inches. A lot of things can change over the course of the next 48 hours before we finally nail down these details, but that's why we are seeing already from the National Weather Service, flash flood watches are being put up in effect through Tuesday evening with the anticipation of picking up 5 to 15 inches, if not more, of rainfall coming on in. And on top of that, we have to be concerned with tropical storm force winds eventually becoming an issue. Now we have tropical storm watches, David, highlighted in the yellow highlighted area, in the orange, that's tropical storm warnings. And we may see more counties being put underneath those watches and warnings as time goes on.
It's interesting to see how different those two scenarios are for who would get the heaviest rain. I think the biggest takeaway is right now where it's just too uncertain to pin down exactly where the heaviest rain is going to fall. But if you're living in a low-lying area, a flood-prone area, I think the best thing to do is stay close to the forecast with us and just be prepared to move if that heavy rain does come to your neck of the woods. Here's the way the flood outlook looks like Monday. Heaviest rain threat on the coast tomorrow, Brazoria County, Matagorda County, and down toward Matagorda Bay, with a slight flood threat for the Houston area tomorrow. Remember, we're starting out with very dry ground, so we can take several inches of rain before we start having issues. So it may not be until we get into Tuesday, and I think Tuesday is probably the most likely day. If we're going to see flash flooding and flooding, it would be most likely Tuesday into Tuesday night, as we would have more rain on the ground, more saturation, and a higher chance for more runoff. So Tonight, inland areas, 50-50 chance for scattered showers and a little breezy, winds 8 to 12. On Monday, it's a 70% chance for rain for inland areas, Harris County, surrounding counties, and winds may gust 10 to 15. I think tomorrow, rain totals are not too terribly bad, 1 to 2 inches, maybe some spots picking up 3 inches in some spots tomorrow for the inland areas. On the coast, it's a little bit different. It's a little higher rain chance, 70% rain chance for scattered showers off and on tonight. It's not going to rain all the time, but scattered showers off and on, winds 10 to 15 on the coast and the bays. Monday, an 80% chance for rain, winds 15 to 20 miles an hour in those heavier downpours. And again, it's off and on rain tomorrow. Minor coastal flooding at high tide. We may see a little higher surge issue, 2 to 4 foot surge on the Gulf-facing beaches and the west side of Galveston Bay as we get into Tuesday. That may go 2 to 4 feet, which would mean at high tide, lower areas, more flood-prone areas could see some inundation. So the broad brush picture is the way this looks right now. Inland, before it's all said and done, through Wednesday, could see 4 to 8 inches. On the coast, 8 to 12 is most likely. Gusty winds, especially near the coast. It's a high risk for flash flooding under this scenario. We stay in a wet picture for several days in a row. Tornadoes are very, very slight risk, but these systems do bring in a lot of twist, and so an isolated tornado is not out of the question. Slow-moving, long-duration storm or flash flood threats for southeast Texas. Here's the extended forecast. Tomorrow, 80% chance for rain, 82. Tuesday looks like the wettest day, 100% rain chance, 84. Wednesday, still a 70% rain chance, and 87, and then we'll just have to wait and see if we can get it cleared out going into Thursday. Some of the slower model runs, the European, keep the rain around through Thursday, and we should improve things at least a little bit going into next weekend. But the bottom line, expect heavy rain. It is a flash flood threat, and it's something we'll just watch and go through together as we go through the next several days. Xavier, back to you, sir.
Yeah, David, stay ready so we don't have to get ready. That's why you're here, Addison, as well, preparing people for the event that something does like that happen. All right, David, thank you. Well, Governor Greg Abbott has ordered an increased readiness level at the Operations Center starting tomorrow. Now, that means that the state resources will be on standby to support local officials. The governor is urging everyone who may be impacted by Nicholas to heed all warnings and start preparing now. Houston and Galveston area leaders are also urging you to get ready for the storm. Here's another live look from the island. Tonight, calm, as you can see, courtesy of our partner Saltwater Recon. Nicholas could create a dangerous storm surge along the coast, like David Paul just mentioned. David Gonzalez, though, has the latest on local storm preps.
While the direct impacts of Nicholas are yet unknown, officials across the region say the time to prepare is now. Storm preps are underway ahead of Tropical Storm Nicholas. In Galveston, businesses blocked storefronts with sandbags ahead of potential flooding. Officials there are expecting between 15 and 20 inches of rain in some areas.
They're not really sure where exactly the rain's going to fall, so we've got to be prepared for all the 20 inches to fall right here in Galveston County.
Please be weather alert, weather aware, Monday, Tuesday, and going into Wednesday.
In Houston, Mayor Sylvester Turner says crews are positioning barricades around the city in low-lying areas.
Don't drive through water, especially at nighttime, because you don't know, how deep that water can be.
Mayor Turner says the threat of heavy rain can be triggering, but he doesn't want people to be caught unprepared.
Just because you don't hear hurricane, it could be a system developing in the Gulf, and what we have seen, these systems can really accelerate very, very quickly.
The city of Houston plans to activate their Office of Emergency Management tomorrow. They say people need to take the threat of severe weather seriously. Back to you.
David Gonzalez, thank you so much. And remember, our hurricane guide includes a checklist of supplies to keep handy just in case. To get yours, go to KHOU.com/hurricane, or a really cool resource here. Just text that word weather to 713-526-1111. All right, now to some other top stories we are following. New tonight, the Reverend Al Sharpton in Houston voicing support for Texas Democrats who tried to prevent Senate Bill 1 from passing. The controversial legislation mandating tough new voting restrictions in Texas was just signed into law last week by Governor Abbott. That's what you're seeing here. During a news conference at Lily Grove Missionary Baptist Church today, Sharpton applauded the Democrats who walked out of the legislature twice to try to block the law.
And we wanted to say that we salute the sacrifice and courage of the Texas Democrats that were able to stall and bring worldwide attention to the wicked and most insidious behavior of voter suppression that we've seen in the modern times.
On the other side of the aisle, Republicans say the law will cut down on voter fraud. Sharpton says he will be in Washington, D.C. tomorrow to urge Senate leaders to take up voting legislation that he says would supersede the Texas law. And now to this here. One person is dead after a major crash on the Southwest Freeway near Belfort. This is a live look here. Police say a car and 18-wheeler collided, causing the big rig to go over the guardrail and then crash on the feeder below. It was then hit by a third vehicle and burst into flames. The driver of the car in the initial crash confirmed dead on scene. No word on the conditions of the 18-wheeler driver and the driver of that third vehicle. And Houston police have confirmed that a body was found wrapped in trash bags. Police say the remains were found yesterday outside an apartment complex on Sandpiper near West Airport. The cause of death, gender, and identity of the victim will be determined by the medical examiner. All right, now back to this. We are continuing to track Tropical Storm Nicholas. The first round of rain from the storm we are expecting possibly to arrive tonight. Let's get another update from Chief Meteorologist David Paul. David, what are we talking about here right now, at least going into this evening?
I think just a few scattered showers, Xavier. I don't see anything too seriously happening right now, at least in the next couple of hours. The storm itself is 500 miles south of Houston, Galveston, but there's a tremendous amount of moisture out ahead of it, and we're just kind of in the way of all of it. You can see heavier rain off the coast down toward Matagorda Bay. Maybe Matagorda Bay, Brazoria County get a little heavier shower activity in a couple of hours, but Houston, southeast Texas, just a few scattered showers right now. Forecast track from the Hurricane Center does bring a strong tropical storm up the Texas coast, making landfall near Matagorda Bay late Tuesday morning, early Tuesday morning, but keeps us on the wet side through at least Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. And so there is a significant flash flood threat with this. However, Xavier, we're going into this situation very, very dry. All of our bayous are down at the bottom of their channels. The ground is relatively dry, so we can take several inches of rain before we start having issues. We'll be watching this very carefully. I think the heaviest rain is going to come down as we head into Tuesday.
All right, we could take a certain amount, but we got to keep a close eye on it. David, Paul, thank you so much. And that is all we have for right now. And as we take a live look from Surfside Beach, we do urge you to stay connected to the KHOU 11 app for updates anytime on Nicholas. Make sure you have those notifications turned on so you'll receive emergency alerts about the storm. We're going to be back on TV tonight at 10:30 right here on KHOU 11 News.